Today we have invited three guests. First of which is Kadia Levin McCoy. She's already here. She's a breast cancer survivor. We also have Othniel Blagrove. He's a JN Life Insurance Company Senior Sales Manager. And as well as our third speaker will be Miss Natalie Walters from Surgical Life Insurance Limited. She's our financial advisor for today. So just to give you an overview of what we'll be doing today, we're going to have like a 30-minute talk with Kadia where she's going to share her experience with breast cancer. We're going to have 2 prize giveaways, being $300 credits. And then we'll have later on in our meeting, we're going to have a panel discussion with our insurance agents where we'll focus on how to plan for critical illnesses, financially speaking. And we'll go straight into the introduction of Kadia. So Kadia McCoy is a young and vibrant 32-year-old wife and mother to a 5-year-old daughter. She's an entrepreneur and the director and co-founder of ZM Entertainment and Parties Limited. In June 2020, she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. But today, Kadia, having gone through months of treatment and surgeries, is proudly cancer-free. Having had first-hand experience with breast cancer, Kadia formed the Heads Up for King Foundation that supports young women fighting breast cancer. Right, Kadia, I'll give it over to you. And I want to ask you one question to just start off. How did you react to your diagnosis at first?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Kadia.
I've been over this story so many times, you know?
Yeah.
My reaction first. When I felt the lump first, I wasn't thinking that it was breast cancer because I was saying that I'm too young for breast cancer because I was 30. I was 30 at the time when I felt the lump. So I wasn't thinking it was breast cancer. I thought it was just probably premenstrual syndrome. But when I decided to go to the doctor, it was like 2 months later after feeling the lump. And to just cut it short and answer your question, when my doctor got the results, he said to me, I have the results and it's not good. Immediately, everything started. It was like I went in a shock. I was in shock. I froze. I was, I had the phone in my hand and I just dropped the phone and I screamed out and I was like this, and my husband asked me what happened. And I said, doctor messaged me and said that he has the results and it's not good. And, thereon I knew it had to be cancer. And I was crying. I cried all the way to the doctor because I went to see the doctor immediately. And I cried. I felt so defeated. I don't know how to describe the feeling. It's as if you're wondering, if it's just a bad dream. But, you're like, where do I go? What happened next? Where do I go from here? Is it the end of my life now? How much time do I have? Because once you hear cancer, you're just thinking about death, but it's actually not, it's not.
What would you say was the driving force during that time? What was your support system like?
Well, my support system, my support was tremendous. I had like a mountain of support with each bringing different gifts of strength. Believe me when I tell you. I remember, even just my share, I shared it with because I mostly have family on Facebook. And I remember when it came out in the Observer, I shared the article and everybody like, whoa, is this for real? You're so brave, you shared this. And from there, in the support with social media, with everyone on social media, you know, was just so overwhelming, you know, with everybody sending, you know, sending prayers, and, you know, just people asking you how you're doing, how are you feeling, just give you some hope to just press on, you know. And my family, my husband, my cousins, I mean, in-laws, everybody was just rooting for me. I mean, I remember I cried, you know, and I said, God, is this for real? I've never felt so loved in my entire life. Believe me, I didn't know I was that loved until that time. My support system was tremendous. But it's not an easy journey, I can tell you, because it's a lot to take in, and you don't go on the journey alone. You go on it with your family and your friends. Everybody is a part of it. So mentally and emotionally, it's not you alone, but the physical part of it, yes, that's you, but everyone is in it together, mentally, financially, you know, emotionally. It's everybody is on the journey. Because when I found out, I did multiple surgeries. You know, I did nipple sparing mastectomy, reconstruction surgery. I did hysterectomy, oophorectomy, and everything was done it was an all-in-one operation. And, you know, I remember when I decided to just get everything done instead of doing it now and then doing some another 2 weeks. And I said, you know, just get everything done one time. And everybody was saying, no, you can't do it one time. It's risky. And I said, well, you know, I prayed about it, and I went in and I did my surgeries. It was about 6 hours long. So it was supposed to be longer than that, but doctors, they had to move fast because of clotting. But, you know, I went in and I went in positive. The good thing about you have to remain positive with a positive attitude in order to really, really survive. Believe me. And I went in surgery praying, and I said, God, you know, walk with me, hold my hands and walk with me. And I remember the day before, my little brother was kissing me goodbye, because, you know, he loves to joke around, and he was saying, boy, sis, farewell. And I said, farewell. You know, I was a little nervous, and I went in, and when I went in and they said, no, it's time for surgery. And I got up early in the morning and I got ready and I went into theater, and I went in, you know, and I had my hand like this going into theater. I was like, God, walk with me, go with me. And I knew I was so calm and relaxed, and I knew I was going to make it out back alive. And I did my surgeries. And then now I waited on the results. I was in denial. I still, you know, I was in denial that maybe it's not breast cancer, maybe it was a mistake, maybe it was a scam. I was
Even
thinking all
after the
sorts of
surgery?
stuff. Yeah, I
Wow.
was thinking, I was still thinking maybe it's not breast cancer, maybe it's just some scam or something to get my money. I was thinking all sort of things, believe me. And, you know, we're all human beings. And I was still thinking, no, it's not cancer. And when the results came back, so after all that surgeries, you still have to wait on the reports to know that if you'll need chemotherapy or not. And up to that time, I did not believe that it was cancer. And when I got back the report, and the doctor said, well, you have to do chemotherapy because of the lymph nodes. I said, oh, and then I believe that, oh, yes, this is real. It's really cancer. And why I said that is because my dad passed away in 2010 from lymphoma. And
Oh, it's something that's in the family.
right,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, but my situation was breast cancer. His was
Yeah.
lymphoma, but because of the amount of spread, that the cancer spread to the lymph nodes, because it was like 14 out of 17 lymph nodes that tested positive for malignancy. So that was sort of harsh. And I said, man, it is real, because that's what my daddy died from. The same cancer spreading in the lymph nodes, and mine spread rapidly. If you look at 14 out of 17, and I'm like, yep, this is for real. It is real. That's a reality. And I was told that I needed chemotherapy. I did 6 months of chemotherapy. I did the Red Devil, That's the one that they call doxorubicin, aka the Red Devil. That's the harshest chemo ever made. And that for me was harsh. I mean, before my journey, I was like 170 something pounds. And when I started chemo, I went down to like 115 pounds. I remember I ended up in the hospital because of dehydration and all sorts of pain and discomfort. And then I had to get ports for the chemo because my vein was too small. It wasn't an easy journey. My veins were too small for the chemo, and they had to. I got a port. You know what a portacat is? Maybe you're not aware. So it's a port that they insert in the chest, and it's connected to the heart. So you'll get the chemo through that instead of through the vein. Okay. And that port wasn't working. So they had to go back in and install another port, like remove that one and then install another one. So I was like doing double portacat surgery. And then with all of that, even before that, I had to, just to tell her that it wasn't an easy journey for me. The breast got infected, and I had to go to the doctor like twice a week for them to cut and aspirate the breast until they decided, no, we can't do this anymore. We have to remove whatever is there and clean it up and put in a permanent silicone. And, you know, with all of that, and then chemotherapy, and then radiation, it was like 5 weeks of radiation. But it was a tough journey, I can tell you, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. But throughout it all, I remained positive. You know, I was upbeat and I just wanted to live because I'm someone who appreciates life so much. And what I believe, even before all of this, I believe in now. I don't believe in tomorrow. I believe in now, because now is what matters, because your life can change within seconds. Believe me, within seconds. And that I know for a fact, because even with that lump, I didn't feel that. I'm always doing my self-examination, and I didn't feel that lump, and out of nowhere, this lump just is like it was overnight. And that's crazy. That was just overnight lump. And I just can't believe it. This thing just popped up out of nowhere. And just to tell you that my life, it was like a whirlwind. And then to talk about the financial part of it, I didn't have insurance. I did not have insurance. And I spent like maybe about $5 million. And when I first found out about the lump and then the surgery and everything was moving so fast, it was like within a week and a half, I had to come up with like $3 million with no insurance. So I'm telling you that it's been rough. Let me tell you, it's been rough. And then the government have this thing that they call Chase Fund. Let me tell you something. That is of no help or nothing to anyone. I applied for that Chase Fund, and I know nobody replied to me. I called them several times and they said they're going to call me back. And I'm yet to get $1. If I was to sit and wait on the government, I wouldn't be here today. I can tell you that. I wouldn't be here today, but it's not an easy journey. And, you know, I encourage everyone to make sure that they do the self-examination. It's very important. And don't take nothing for granted. Believe me, don't take anything for granted.
All right. So, Kadia, can you tell us a little about Heads Up for Pink Foundation? Like, when did you found it, and what inspired you to create it? I have an idea of what inspired you, but just
right. So yeah.
Elaborate.
So when I was going through chemotherapy, I didn't have any hair. You know, even though, you know, when you look at yourself, it just reminds you of your strength and how brave you are. You know, the scars and everything just remind you that you're fighting a battle. And sometimes you don't want to be reminded. I can tell you that you just want to feel normal, because you look at everyone else and you're, man, why my life wasn't that normal, you know? And you just want some sense of normalcy regardless of what you're going through. And with a bald head, I used to go to chemotherapy and I just put a little wrap over my head. I just dress as how I'm feeling, you know, lousy. I mean, even though I was positive, but just that one day to go for chemotherapy, it was just like a gray cloud day. That was the day that's what it would feel like, you know, for me. And when I was gifted a wig, and I was gifted a nice wig, but and I'm like, you know, man, I really look different. And I put on a nice little dress, and I said, whoa, you know, I can rock a wig because I'm not a wig person. And I said, man, I didn't know that wig was this nice, you know. And then I started dressing up. Then I got another gift. I got a gift. I got another gift, a lace wig. And when I got the lace wig, man, that was the bomb for me, you know, man. Let me tell you something. My friends who my friends who didn't like wearing wigs, everybody wanted wigs, and because the wig looked so nice. The wig looked so nice on me that everybody wanted. And then I started dressing up. I started dressing up and just going out, and everybody saying, "What nice! I can't believe that you're going through thing like this." You know, and my brother would say to me, then you really have cancer, tell the truth. You really have cancer? And I said to him, I said, you know, it's like people can't believe that I look like, and I'm going through chemotherapy. So, so because of that, because of my experience with the wig, I know it uplifted my spirit, and I know I was gifted the wigs. I want to give back to uplift someone else's fighting spirit. And that is how I formed Heads Up for Pink, just to give back to up someone else's fighting spirit, you know. That's how I started the foundation, so that I can help someone else on the journey. Because, you know, whenever someone contacts me, that they are, you know, they are diagnosed and they're going through chemotherapy, you know, it just put like a hole in my heart. I know the person or not, it just put a hole in my heart, and I just help them because I know it's an expensive journey and you cannot do it alone. You need help. Believe me, everything is expensive. And if I give someone and uplift their fighting spirit, then it's a pleasure to do it, and I feel so happy doing it that I do to give back. I started it last year. Okay. When I finished on my journey, and I feel, you know, I could take on something extra. I have that, you know, strength. I say, you know what, let me get this going. I don't want to delay anymore. I want to try and see, you know, who I can reach out to and assist. So that's how I started the foundation.
So how do you balance the foundation, ZM Entertainment, your wife, your mother? How you balance all of that?
Let me tell you something. Sometimes I don't even have time for myself. I can tell you, sometimes I don't have time for ZM. I don't have time for Heads Up for Pink. And then because, let me tell you, not because I finished chemotherapy and it doesn't stop there. It doesn't, because I have doctors, I have appointments, I have all sorts of appointments and doctors done. So it's
like still
trying, yeah, it's trying to keep a balance, you know.
Yeah,
I try to keep a balance.
If you could,
I try to keep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's just trying. Sometimes I'm extremely tired and I'm overwhelmed, you know. But because the entertainment, you know, it's been closed down for a while, and I mean the calls are not so bad. So nothing is really, you know, consuming, no, but there's a little balance. between everything, just a little balance. But because I'm even in menopause, so you know, I get tired easily. I get tired easily being in menopause, you know, because my body is going through a whole lot of changes. And I really miss the old me, the energetic me. You know, I really miss that. If there's anything that I miss the old me. Because at once I could take on the world, but I realize I can't take on the world anymore. I just have to chill. You know, there's a thing called chill that I didn't know. Now I know the word chill.
Thank you, Katie. So thank you so much for sharing your story, by the way, and recounting it. I know it can't be easy, but it really means a lot to us because you're just sharing so much insight on something that we have no idea about unless we go through it. So
Right.
I know you said now you feel like you have had to learn the word chill, but how has surviving breast cancer changed your perspective on life in general?
Okay, so realize that, you know, life is precious. And, you know, I thought I was going well and I thought I had a handle at life, but that handle broke, you know. It's like, see life different, you know, as, you know, a different perspective. As I say, you know, I believe before, you know, in living for now, but even more, I am definitely in every second of every day. I appreciate life. I appreciate my family. I appreciate friends. And I learn not to take anything for granted. And I learn gratitude. Believe me, I learned gratitude. Gratitude is what I learned most of all than anything else. And not to worry about anything because life will work out itself. Believe me, I can tell you. I remember when I used to probably complain about a little eyebrow here or a little hair or something and being fussy. When I look back, I didn't have any fussy about, you know, and I'm like, man, I really learned to appreciate little things in life, you know, and just to be humble, you know, and gratitude is the main thing, just to have gratitude and appreciate everyone around you, because within seconds your life can change. So gratitude is a big thing for me. Gratitude.
Okay, thank you so much. That's beautiful, and that's definitely something that we can learn from this, you know, guys, just to be really grateful and just have gratitude and appreciate every single day and appreciate life so much. So, Katie, I know you said you had to rake up what was it, $5 million for your treatment, 3.5 within 2 weeks. I mean, how did you do it? You didn't have
Within a
insurance
week
and
and a half.
yeah, a week and a half. I know insurance, it's one of those things that we might think, oh, you know, we might not need because you're not using it right now, which we're about to have a panel discussion about, guys. But you managed to, God provided for you. So how did you manage to finance your treatment?
Okay. What happened? What happened is that when I found out my daughter godmother, she was the one who we were very close, and she assisted me, like, you know, somewhat, like, work out all. My husband was, he went numb. So I had to just get the pen and the paper, and I had to. I think I still have that I wrote down, because it was about 4 different doctors that was, you know, I had on board, and I had anesthesiologists. There was all these people. I tell you, the hospital that cost 500 and something $1,000. And then that was just the down payment fee of the hospital, and you have this doctor charge $1 million, and then another charging $500,000, another one, you know. So I had to get my pen and paper, and I had to work it out. And then I had to, right? I had little investments here and there. I had to close all those little investments. I had investment for my daughter, and I had to close that investment. I had and some other savings is just putting everything together to make this work. And at the same time, it was COVID. And my husband's business had slowed down, drastically slowed down. My business that was it for my business big time, because of course everybody was afraid of COVID. And what happened is that I had to get my pen and my paper, and I had to work it out with family and a little investment and everything that I had. I had to just put it together. So, okay, this family give me 500 US, that one giving me another 1,000. So that's how I had to do it. And then I work out a payment plan with the doctors that, within another 2 weeks time, I'll give you the final. So, and it's a funny, I'll share a story with you, and I think everybody needs to know about, and I tell Sagicor that they need to start for this, because when I had 2 weeks before my diagnosis, right? Not even 2 months or so before I felt the lump. It was in January that a representative for the Corps, he came to my house and he was selling me some insurance, and I said, okay, I went to it and I signed up and everything. It was in January. I signed up and I said, okay, you can come and get money. He didn't come back for the money, and by the time he decided to come for the money, it was in March. We got the first COVID case. And everybody started calling and canceling. And I said, man, you know what? I really cancel this. I can't do the insurance anymore, because I don't know what is happening. I don't know with this virus. I don't know if I'll have the money to pay. So I called him and I canceled the insurance. It was a health insurance. It was a good package that he gave, critical illness and everything that he gave me. And I called him, and I canceled the insurance. And I remember when he came to the office, no man, I think I did pay him, I remember I gave him the first installment. I did give him the first installment. And he said to me, anything that happened to you today, Sagicor is responsible. I remember that. And then in March, I called him and I said, cancel all of that insurance, because with this COVID, I don't know what's going to happen. And my business looks like it's going downhill already. And he said that, you're sure? And I said, yes. And I remember my sister came in March. So I felt the lump in about April. I felt the lump, April. And can you believe it? Canceling an insurance in March and feeling a lump in April. Can you imagine? And I never forget when I got the news that it is cancer. And I'm like, man, I canceled the insurance. I canceled the insurance. I could not believe it. And I called him and I said, what? I said, Ainsworth, what can you do for me? I said, what can be done? Mrs. McCoy, I can't do anything. I said, are you sure? I can't do anything. Nothing could be done. And let me tell you, people would think that I work with insurance company, but I don't. And I don't get commission or anything. And I keep telling everybody, please go and get insurance. Go and get some insurance. And you know what that young man said to me up to today? He is using my story to sell insurance. That's what he's doing.
Wow.
He's telling me that once him say him don't lose from my story. Everybody will approach my story in selling insurance right away. And I'm like, man, I'm not getting anything from Sagicor. I'm not getting anything. Even Sagicor, I'm not getting anything from this. Right? And I think I should be getting something.
Right.
And and I'm telling you, I had to find that money, and I regret canceling the insurance. And I think it's so important for everybody to get insurance. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be selfish because I'm not getting any commission from Sagicor, but but I'm telling everybody, please get insurance. It's very important. It is important. Insurance is very important. I learned that, and believe me, if I had one more chance, I would. Trust me, that's now no question, no question. And because of that, all my family members know, don't everybody have insurance. All my cousins,
Oh,
all my young cousins, everybody have insurance now. Nobody not, we don't take it for granted at all. Yeah, all the young
wow.
people, everybody needs to go and get insurance.
What a
Yeah.
story. And that's so interesting because, that's exactly what we're talking about. But I also heard you
Yeah.
mention that you closed out some of your investments. And that's interesting as well because, this is a collaboration between Angels of Love and the You Young Investors Club. So
Right.
can you speak a little bit about your investments? Did your gains on your investments help you in your journey? What were you invested in? Was it the stock
No, listen, let
market?
me tell you something. My daughter,
Mhm.
um, I had some investment and thing for her, and I had to close out all of those things. Um, I had some savings overseas, and I had to everything. I had to pull out everything, close down how much accounts and everything I had to close out. You know, um, I had to close down everything, and I was going to say something else and I don't remember. I just had to, and then you know what I ended up doing to do my chemotherapy treatment. I started
Mhm.
a GoFundMe
Oh,
because
wow.
chemotherapy treatment was the oncologist charged $40,000 every week, and this was for 6 months.
Wow.
But that's not it. You have to buy the chemo drugs. So, and then now there is this medication for nausea that nothing else can help you. Not even that medication that you pay for nausea. It's 5 pills, or I think, or 4 pills for 20 something $1,000. And then when your blood count is low, you cannot get chemotherapy. You have to get that injection, and that injection is $25,000 and
Wow.
$20,000. And imagine you have to get that every week. And then the chemo drug. So every weekly, you're looking at $150,000 for chemo weekly. So I had to start a GoFundMe. Everybody was saying that you sure you want to do it, you're not ashamed. I was a little bit afraid to do it, but then I said, no, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I mean, what I'm going to do,
Right.
sit with pride and not ask for help.
Right.
And I remember I launched the GoFundMe, and I did the GoFundMe, and that's helped me with my chemotherapy. That's helped me through chemotherapy, through the 6 months of chemotherapy, I can tell you. So that's why I said with my Facebook family, and most of that donation came from those who were on Facebook. And then you have few from Instagram that reached out to me. And then when the article came out, like in the Observer and the Star and the Gleaner, then people reached out to me. The GoFundMe wasn't in those papers, but people reached out to me that they wanted to assist me, and I got few donations here and there. So between GoFundMe and closing couple investments, and so put together, I didn't want to trouble my husband's business because everything was kind of going downhill with COVID. And at least we still have bills, we still have food, we still have other things to do apart from the sickness. So
Mm,
that could take care of everything else. You understand
mm.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So I try to manage that sickness part elsewhere while still, trying to keep the home and paying bills and keep the business going otherwise. But it was rough, and I can tell you things kind of start to smooth off now. Um, but let me tell you, you never stop fighting. I can tell you, you never stop, because let me tell you something. I have a scan to do on Tuesday, and that scan is 150 something $1,000. It's a CT
Wow.
scan and an MRI scan. You just never stop. And then every 2 or 3 months I have to go see oncologist, which is $9,000 and $11,000. And then when you go and see oncologist, you get a whole stack of paper to get blood work done, and you have to do this scan, and you have to do all
Wow.
sorts of, yeah, it never stops. And then I'm on maintenance drug for 10 years, and that's a pill that I have to take every night for 10 years. So even that pill costs like 40 something $1,000. But the NHF card, it covers most of that. The NHF, thank God for the NHF. That's one good thing that the government have going, the NHF. So that's helped with that drug. So you pay with NHF card, you pay like maybe $3,000 or $4,000. So it's not an easy journey, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. It's not easy. It's not easy. You have to try and remain positive. I can tell you. You have to keep your mental going, and that is why there's no weekend that I stay home. I'm always on the go or find something to do to keep my mental going, because it's a lot to take in. I can tell you, it's a lot.
Of course. Kata, you know, you have shared your story with us and you're so brave and we really, really appreciate you. I mean, you went through everything with us, the whole experience when you found out, the financial aspect, the family support and everything. So just to wrap up with one final question, what advice would you give somebody who has just been diagnosed with breast cancer?
Let me tell you something. It's not the end of the road, you know. Try to remain positive. I would say pray, listen to positive, go on YouTube and find positive stuff to listen to, because that's what helped me on the journey. I went on YouTube and I searched for positive talks and quotes and stuff like that, and I listened to that, and I listened to some positive music to start my day. I'll end my day going to my bed with some positive words. Just look around, when you see the sunshine, you see how beautiful life is. Fight till the end, even if they tell you that it's terminal, still live every day like it's the last, and just never give up. Because even if they tell you terminal, just that will to fight, just that will to live, and that positivity can change everything that is going on in your body. Because I realize that your mind controls your body, and I can tell you that your mind can heal your body, and that's what I know that for a fact. You understand? So you just have to remain positive, pray, listen to positive things, and just appreciate each day, and just tell yourself that I'm going to put on my fighting gloves and I'm going to fight this to the end, and tell yourself that cancer, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. I'm going to fight and I'm going to win this. And even if I don't win, I'm fighting to the end, and I'm going to live life. I'm going to love life, and I'm not going to put this on my head, and I'm going to keep up with your treatments and do what you have to do, and just try to remain upbeat, and find positive people to talk with. Just find positive people who can uplift your spirit. You don't want anybody telling you, Lord, it's terminal, you're not, don't. You want to be around positive people, and you just want to remain positive, just never give up. Never. It might cross your mind 1 and 2 times, because I remember with my diagnosis, I remember after surgery, I would look at my daughter and I would cry. There are several times my daughter would jump out of the bed and she would cry, and she would say, Mommy, are you going to die? And I'm like, no, Mommy will not die. I had to reassure her that Mommy will live, I had to do that for my daughter, and I can't imagine my life without my daughter, because she is so sensitive. She's a sensitive child, and I don't know. Sometimes I think about it like, I'm saying, God, please just, I mean, it will always be in the back of our head, the what if, because you know how cancer is. You'll think it's gone and you're in remission, and then it will come back. But I try not to think about it, and I think about it every now and then, and I'm like, God, please just spare me. I can't, my daughter she can't do without me, because no matter who she have and who she love, they need their mommies. I can tell you that. And I just try to remain positive and strong for her, and just appreciate life, just seeing the sunshine, just being around friends and family. And I'm like, even sometimes when we'll have our little family gathering, and I'm like, and I look at everybody and I smile, and I said, thank you, Lord, for giving me the strength to be here with everyone. That's what and I look at everybody and I smile, and I just love and appreciate everyone so much. And it's just thinking about everybody that gives you the strength and just looking at how beautiful life is. So you want to remain positive. You want to think about your family and all your friends and how nice life is. You know, just think about all the beautiful things that you don't want to leave here. You want to live, you want to fight, you know, you want to come out victorious. So just press on and just remain positive. Believe me, you just want to remain positive.
Wow, that is an incredibly powerful story, Kadia. I mean,
and you know what?
so
Let me tell you, I tell people this, right? You die once, but you live daily. So just make use of each day, every second, every minute that you get, you make use of it.
Wow. I mean, there are 43 of us in here, and you've hit every single one of us in our hearts. I mean, we truly feel your story, and we just can't thank you enough for coming here and being so brave to not just share your story, but just tell us through and through what your experience was like, and just really inspire us, Kadia. We really, truly appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if it's one thing that we can take from you, is to really appreciate life each and every single day and the persons around you guys. And if, you know, all of us have our own stories, and if you're going through something, just remember Kadia said, don't give up, don't stop fighting. You know, hold on to hope and just appreciate every single day and everything around you. Everyone in the chat is thank you so much for sharing your story, Kadia.
You're welcome, everyone. You're all welcome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. And I know you said find reasons to smile, you know, even the little things in life. So guys, we have a little reason for you to smile now. Amanda is going to be doing a credit giveaway.
Okay, right. So that song you just heard indicated prize giveaway time, guys. So answer in the chat. The first person to answer the question correctly gets $200 credits. The first question is, what age was Kadia when she got her diagnosis? Right, so Brianna was the first person to answer correctly. Direct message me your number and your service provider, and we'll get that credit to you by the end of the meeting. And now we move on to our panel discussion. Kadia mentioned that one of the things that she emphasizes a lot is the importance of getting insurance. So I'm sure everybody who don't have insurance yet go on get insurance. No, our first insurance agents, we have two insurance agents here. The first insurance agent we'll introduce is Mr. Othniel Blagrove. So a little bit about him. Mr. Othniel Blagrove is a results-oriented financial and insurance sales manager with a wealth of experience and expertise in life insurance sales and financial services. He is currently employed to JN Life Insurance Company as their senior manager for sales. He was employed to the surgical arm of Chancellor Insurance Agency as a unit manager in life insurance sales. He also worked for the NCB Financial Group with 10 years of retail banking experience and 15 years of sales and project management experience. He attended the following tertiary institutions. 1, University of West Indies, where he acquired a bachelor's degree in management studies, The second institution he attended was in the US, Pennsylvania, the American College of Financial Services, where he attained the following financial designations: LUTCF, Life Underwriter Training Council Fellow, FSS, Financial Services Specialist, FSCP, Financial Services Certified Professional. And thirdly, he attended the College of Insurance and Professional Studies in Kingston, Jamaica, where he acquired 2 certificates, one being the ordinary long-term insurance, and secondly, the equity-linked insurance certificates. Some of his accomplishments are as follows: a qualified member of the $1 Million Roundtable, MDRT, with 8 years of membership in the premier worldwide association of financial and insurance professionals, obtaining several company awards, which includes Advisor of the Year, Top Salesperson in Product Sales, Top Salesperson in Investment Income, Staff of the Quarter, and Advisor of the Quarter. He's married and is a proud father of two beautiful girls aged 21 and 16 years old. His philosophy is, no matter what challenges or obstacles come our way, we should find every opportunity to rise above them, count our blessings, and give thanks. So I'll pass on to Victoria to introduce our second panelist for today. Sorry.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Othniel Blagrove. So as you guys heard, Mr. Blagrove is definitely a specialist in his area, and he's going to be one of the panelists speaking to us all about insurance today. But we have another panelist, and I think she is extra special because she's not just an insurance rep, but she's a doctor. So I mean, guys, perfect panelist, huh? We're talking about breast cancer and insurance. So her name is Dr. Natalie Walters, and she's from Sagicor. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Natalie Walters graduated from UWI in 2012 with a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, MBBS degree, and completed internship at the KPH Circuit of Hospitals. She transitioned into the world of finance and sales, having worked 6 years in the hospital environment, 4 of which were spent in the accident and emergency department. Since working at Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited, she has qualified for many awards, including Rookie of the Year, Branch, Century Club ×5, $1 Million Roundtable Qualifier ×4, and most recently has accomplished the requisite courses from the American College of Insurance to obtain the designation of Financial Services Certified Professional, FSCP. So, using her medical acumen and experience in both professions, she has helped many clients to create education, income replacement, and family protection funds, which have already begun to provide in cases of children going to college, critical illness diagnoses, and death claims. So she continues to merge the skills she has obtained through working in both service industries under the guidance of God to provide a service to her clients, just as she would like to receive for herself. Welcome, Natalie, and thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Okay, so getting right into it. We're talking about insurance. Katia shared her powerful story. So let's start from the basics. Can you briefly explain the difference between life, health, and critical insurance coverage?
You want to start, Natalie? Ladies first.
All right. Okay, so insurance is, wow, almost a very broad definition, because you have different types of insurance, different types of policies that do different things. So it's not about just having insurance, it's about what you have, how much you have, and what's the purpose of the insurance. And that is why we're able to know break it down now into different segments or classes, right? So you have the general segment of life insurance, which is really love money. It's really money for your loved ones. And it really does help to protect your family income. So it's a family income protector, right? And then you will have your critical illness insurance. And critical illness insurance, as you would have just heard, is a must have. I mean, I am getting goosebumps just thinking about it, right? That now is your income protection. So that is your own personal income protection, right? Clearly, because if you have a critical illness, it is your income that is going to be affected, because your ability to work may be affected, as well as your income, your salary may be taken up because of all the additional financial expenditures. And then you can have other insurance types. You have health insurance, which deals with, I want to say deals with medical expenses, but it deals with direct medical expenses. So you can have direct medical expenses and indirect medical expenses, right? And your health card is what will take care of your direct medical expenses. So specifically going to the doctor, specific things like buying certain prescriptions that are covered, paying for certain tests that are covered, etc., all up to a limit. And then your critical illness now can cover the rest depending on the situation. But you also have other types. You can have, investment insurance merge, so insurance that carries an investment component. That's what we call equity linked policies. Whenever you hear the word equity linked, being paid with reference to an insurance policy. So that's really pretty much the general thing, right? It's health, critical illness, life / investment. And all of it is really, what do you have, how much do you have, and what is the purpose of the policy? Those are the questions we're asking.
That's
Okay,
right.
thank you.
And just to add, sorry, let me just turn this phone off. Yeah, just to add to that as well. And Natalie is right. Clear distinction between the three. And she made a point there at the end, almost at the end. I thought this was off. She made a point there at the end that is very important with regards to health insurance. Right, so you're liable. It's basically for direct medical expenses, as she mentioned. But in most cases, once you have that card that tells you that you have a health plan, you are liable for a percentage. So you know that maybe the company will only provide, say, 80% of the amount, and you pay 20%. So hardly at any time that you'll be paying the total amount, unless of course there's, and it gets technical when you talk about deductibles and so forth, and major medical, but all of that is a part of the health plan process, and it's kind of technical. You really have to understand it to ensure that you really benefit from it. With regards to critical now, then it's a specified insurance amount that you're covered for. And you might hear they talk about face amount, which is the amount that you really have been promised by the insurance provider, that if in case of a critical illness, that is what will be paid to you in terms of that. So it isn't that it's a special medical expense. So a lot of persons will say, but we have a critical illness policy, so will it take care of so and so and so? No, it's an amount that you will be getting. And then out of that amount, you will take care of whatever it is in terms of payments or treatment and so forth. So technically they are different. And of course, she mentioned about the life insurance as well, which is, as she said, love money. It's not yours. It's definitely for your beneficiary, right? So that is how persons benefit, as the name suggests. If God forbid you pass on, then of course the beneficiary will receive that amount that you're insured for.
Okay, awesome.
All right. I have a question. So I know nothing about insurance. I come to your office. What are some good questions I should ask when selecting the policy I should go with?
All right, do you want me to take that, Natalie?
You can start, go ahead.
All right, good. So with regards to that, a lot of times persons come in. So say you, Amanda, you decide to come into my office today. So right afterwards, you drive down to Jane Life and you sit in my office. No.
They're gonna come to Sajik Hush.
No problem. They're gonna come. Amanda will come both places, right, Amanda?
Yes.
That's right. So when you come down here, one of the important things that a lot of persons do not understand the role of an advisor, a financial and insurance advisor. What they do is similar to what Natalie does. We are insurance doctors, and I guess that's one of the reasons why she's in the right profession in both ways, right? We are insurance doctors. So before we make a diagnosis, as it were, what we do, we have to probe, we have to find out what's your need. So there are some questions that we will be asking you. For example, we're going to find out what's your income need. You know, we're going to find out how many dependents do you have. We're going to find out what it is that you already have. Because as was mentioned, there are life, there are critical illness and health, and there may be gaps, right? You have some persons who have too little insurance, some who don't. And, you know, a lot of persons will ask, what is enough? How much is enough? And so forth. Then we have to sit down, and there are those questions that we will have to ask to ensure that that comes out, and then we make a recommendation or a diagnosis. Now, if you decide to go in and you just sit down, what do you need to know is a very important question, because for one, you have to find out if what the product that is offered to you is one that you really need. So there are two things about a product that you need to find out, and what are its features, what are its benefits. What are the benefits? So that is one thing that you need to do. And when you listen to Kadia's story, then you realize, as she mentioned before, you know, we're pretty much, Amanda, after her story, what can Natalie and myself say? That is just a story that tells you the importance of having critical illness insurance, especially. And we're going to direct it to critical illness. So you know, we'll have to find out, is this really for me? How do I benefit if in case I have a critical illness, right? What is the coverage that will be available? So if I tell you, Amanda, well, you're getting $3 million, and when Kadia tell you a while ago that she spent 5, where are you going to get the other 2? So coverage amount is also important. Will this allow me to be comfortable being able to take care of the treatment if in case this and so on and so forth happens? So it's very important that you understand those things when you sit with an advisor to ensure that you are really sold what it is that you need.
Yep.
Go ahead, Natalie.
Well, I mean, honestly, there are so many questions that you could ask. And, you know, honestly, I encourage my new clients to ask all the questions that they have, because this is something that you're going to have for we don't know how long. And when it comes down to, okay, I need to put food on the table or pay the insurance money, when you understand what it is you have and why you have it, then it becomes a non-question. You will eat dry crackers. I have clients who tell me straight up, boy, Miss Walters, you know, say, I don't really have many food, you know, but it's all right. I'm going to eat whatever I find in the cupboard and make sure that the insurance get paid. And I mean, I see it, right? And it's because they understand that they cannot find $1 million to give to their children, but they can find the $2,000 to pay for that $1 million to be available. And so they will choose to eat dry crackers and what is in the cupboard rather than spend that money to buy food and then allow the insurance to fall to the wayside. One thing I will note is very, very important to pay attention to what the policy does for you, right? So it's not just about having insurance. I will say it again. It's what you have, how much you have, so the coverage amount, as well as what the policy does. So there's no point in you telling me that you have a critical illness policy, but then you have a policy that doesn't cover for stroke. Stroke is very common in the Jamaican population, in the Jamaican society, and there are policies that cover for stroke, right? That for me is just the dangers with regards to not looking at the policy that you are taking out, the policy that you have. We don't facilitate, we don't encourage closure of policies. So if you have something that doesn't do everything that you would want it to do, try and find a way to get additional coverage that will add to what you already have. So for example, suppose you have a policy that only covers for 9 things, because you took that out a long time ago. then when you are able to buy another policy that will cover for 11, that covers for 30, that covers for more additional illnesses, so that your range of diagnoses that you can get insurance protection, income protection for is widened. And that's really how you should look at it. It's an investment. In fact, really and truly, if you buy insurance when you're young, it's one of the best investments you could ever do, because the amount you would ever pay for the service that the insurance company provides is bar none, percentage on top of percentage on top of percentage more than what you would have got if you just put that money down in any investment portfolio anywhere else, right? And so that's the benefit of getting insurance when you're young, and it's cheap. Right? It's inexpensive. I'm not supposed to use the word cheap. I'm still getting over that. But it's inexpensive because insurance is bought with age and good health. You simply use money to pay for it. So you could have all the money in the world. If you're too old, or your health and or your family's health is too poor, you won't be able to qualify for what you should get.
Dr. Walters, you mentioned it's important to get insurance at a young age. So what would you say to someone who thinks that insurance policies are a waste of money, or that when you're young and fit, you don't really need it?
All right. I didn't catch all of Kadia's story, but I caught enough and I saw enough. She looks very young, doesn't she? Right? She looks very young, right?
Yeah.
It is very important. Yeah, 32.
32.
Yeah. Okay, I processed a claim for a client in January of 2022. She turned 33 in August of 2021. I met her in May. She was diagnosed with breast cancer this year after doing a biopsy in November of last year. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's 33, right? If you really take research St. Jude's Hospital, Bustamante Hospital for Children, there are persons who have cancer when they're young. There was a student who was in 4th year of college, right? And developed leukemia. He went away on an elective just to get some experience over at a school overseas, a college overseas. And while he was over there, he developed leukemia. Just like that, right? So it's almost like saying, oh, I'm never gonna need that. But the truth is, you do not know what is going to come your way. And because you don't know what is going to come your way, it's worth the investment to ensure you have something. I'm not saying you're gonna have as much insurance as you'll be able to manage, because you will always have a budget to stick to, but have something, right? And put something in place so that you can have it should you need it. It's better to want and not have than to have. It's better to have and not want than to want and not have, right? So it's better to have the insurance and you don't need it, praise God, than you have need for it and you cannot get it. Because once you've been diagnosed with a critical illness, you're not going to be able to qualify. Most insurance companies don't go on to sell you a critical illness policy after you've already had one. Right, Othniel? Sorry, let me just confirm that, right?
That's right. You are correct.
Yes.
You are correct.
Okay, good.
What is the average monthly premium for health insurance? Let's start with health insurance for a young, healthy person. Let me repeat the question. What is the average monthly premium for health insurance for a young, healthy person? I'm going to send this question.
Is it health or
you.
Critical? Critical. Is it health you really want? Yeah, it's best. Yeah, critical.
All right. Well, it's gonna vary. I don't think Jen does health insurance as yet, if memory serves me right.
We do it through the bank, JN Health.
Okay.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. So it's group insurance is generally always cheaper, right? So if you're working with a company and they offer health insurance. So remember, health insurance is what you use to go to the doctor and buy prescription. Health insurance takes care of direct medical expenses, majority of direct medical expenses. That is going to vary, that price is going to vary based on the company, based on the type of health insurance package that they have, and how much it is that the company pays versus how much it is that you pay, whether the company is government or a private institution. For individual, personal health insurance, that tends to be a little pricey because the amount of persons on that is not as much, and that can run you anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 depending on the type of policy that you decide to get. And that's just straight health insurance, right? Is it good to have both? If you can manage it, yes, because it means that both cards will be able to be used, and you'll have to pay less out of pocket. But I usually advise my clients, if you can get group insurance, then get it, and just remember to convert it to individual coverage when you're leaving the group.
And speaking on the critical side now, I think that was a question that another question that they had wanted to find out in terms of critical illnesses. It all depends, of course, on the age and the gender. And the younger you are, the less expensive it will be. So between ages, say for example, age 30, age 25, even as low as age 20, it's very small, the amount that you pay. At JN Life, the average would be about between $1,500, as low as $1,500, going up to $2,250 for that kind of age group. Because as I said, the younger you are, the less expensive it is. But the older you
go as low as $1,000.
$1,000, good.
Ha.
And then it goes up to age 60. So it's very important, and you need to talk to your parents. As young ones, you need to talk to the parents and let them know the importance of not waiting. There's this cost of waiting that can affect you when it comes to insurance. So you need to understand that the younger you are, the less expensive. You need to start now. Now is the time, because as time moves on, it's going to cost more, right? And also remember that the older you get, you're putting yourself at risk, because in Kadia's case, wherein this all happened to her before she's 35, yet she still have much more years left. So guess what happened? She won't be able to get, as we mentioned before, another one, right? Things can happen to us where even for underwritten plans, and when we say underwritten, that means you're medically underwritten. It means you might have to do medical questions, you might have to do medicals, lab tests, and so forth to qualify for coverage. If you are ill, then it's going to be more expensive. That's when you become rated. And also, and there's a risk of having your insurance application declined completely. So don't wait until any of things happen. If you're young and you're healthy, now is the time to buy insurance.
Okay. All right. Well, there we have it, guys. We should start while we're young. So on the topic of paying premiums, we'll just take a question from the chat really quickly. So Tiana is wondering, is there a reason why, the insurance agents don't notify you when the money is almost up? So is it that there's a limit to the amount that you have access to? And she's wondering, why is it that they don't notify you when it's almost up?
Well, you're talking about health insurance.
Is it? Tiana, you want to? Yeah, she said
Oh,
yes.
health.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead, Natalie.
Well, when you say almost up, so a health insurance is an annual renewable policy. So it goes for 1 year, right? So let's say from August to July 31st, right? That's the span of a policy of a health insurance plan. And even though you will have a certain amount that's fixed on the fast card, meaning the easy swipe card, right? Where you go and you just swipe the card. There is what is called major medical expense, which there's still money on the policy, but after the fast card amount is finished, then you have to pay upfront and claim back, right? So it's not necessarily that your health insurance is up, the money is up. What happens is, just imagine if you had a card that was inexpirable, you would just use it freely, right? And you never want, an insurance company doesn't want something to be abused, because it would mean that they would end up possibly running into being underprofitable, right? Unprofitable. And so what they do is, after a certain amount, you have to pay upfront, and then you claim back for what would have been due to you. So for example, let's say your fast card has $5,000 worth of prescription benefits, but the first test that you did was 5,000. And then the next prescription that you fill is $10,000. When you go to fill that second prescription, the fast card is going to register as being finished, right? But it's not that your policy is done, because your policy is in existence for the entire year. And so what that would mean is you will pay the $10,000 upfront, and then you submit a claim form with the receipt to the company, and they will reimburse you the 80% that they would pay once that prescription was for a claimable expense, right? So unfortunately, not all medications are covered, not all surgeries, not all tests are covered on a health insurance. It's generally most are, but not everything. So for example, just for an example, plastic surgery is not covered on health insurance, general health insurance. There may be some quote unquote ton-up ones that will cover plastic surgery, but generally plastics, just for cosmetic reasons, is not covered. So that's an example, right? I'm not sure, Tiana, if that's what you were asking. You could just confirm if I've answered your question.
Tiana? Yeah, you can open your mic. You can open your mic.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. You slightly answered the question. What I was really asking was, okay, so you mentioned that the fast card has a limit, but I was saying, like, I was wondering, why is it that the card holder isn't like notified when that limit is almost up, or when they've almost reached the limit?
Okay, so it's in your package. I don't have any packages here, but somewhere it's there. Whether it's on the brochure or it's in like or individual health holders, they get an actual package, a big thick thing, right, that speaks to how much is covered, etc. And then of course every year you should be able to call the company and get a list of how much is covered on your plan, whether it's $15,000 for medications, $40,000 for the schedule of benefits. So when you call the company, you'd be asking for the schedule of benefits for your plan. And that would tell you how much is on your policy. Now, in terms of you getting an update, like a text message or something as to what is remaining, That's above my pay grade. It would be something that would be good for them to do, but it would be a lot to try to facilitate that on all the numerous policies that we would have out there between individual health clients as well as all the group insurance policies that are in existence.
So Tiana, it is the volume that is the issue. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot out there. But of course, it's a good suggestion if it is that you'd want to put it in as a suggestion, right? But when you really look at it, once you get that schedule and once you are actually keeping track, so your responsibility is to also keep in track. So if you know that, for example, you have a $30,000 on optical and you know you decide that you want what they call it, what's the last one I have, a Ralph Lauren or whatever it is and so forth, you know, but you need to keep track. A lot of persons with fast cards, you know, they just run it and they have it alone, because with your fast card, if you get the pouch, as Natalie was explaining, you should also get a list of the things with it. Sometimes they give it with a little card and you have that. Or the provider, wherever you go, they can also do a check on it as well and let you know. And of course, a lot of persons, they are surprised when they go and the provider says, your fast card is expired, or your amount, your coverage is expired. Of course, you know, you'll have to wait until the renewable date, which is of course the calendar, one year since it's annually renewable. So that's it, Tiana. Until that happens, where you're going to be told when you reach or nearing your limit, make sure that you keep track of it. Keep track of what it is you use off your card.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your answer. Yeah, Tiana, thanks you as well. So you broke it down a lot for us, but focusing a little bit on critical illnesses. What kind of security does a critical illness policy offer to persons like Kadia during her battle with breast cancer?
All right, so with Kadia, if she had it, first of all, if she had a critical illness, because of course, you know, this is hindsight, is 2020 vision. And that's the passion she has now when she speaks about it, because she has her story and she would be telling persons that, look, I should have had it. And at the same time, we all need to get it. So if she had a 6 million coverage, for example, on her critical illness plan, and she gets paid that $6 million, then she would then use that. One, she would have to be going around and to do all the things that she had to do, chop and change and you know, find out how many this doctor, I have to pay to this doctor or whatever. Yes, she will have to pay all her bills, but then one lump sum amount that she'll be getting, and she'll be able to take care of whatever it is. However, it should be noted that although it's critical and it's covered illness, for example, at Gen Life, we cover illnesses on our critical plans like cancer, stroke, kidney failure, partial kidney failure, heart attack, major burns, coma, paralysis, loss of speech, loss of hearing, sight, major organ transplant, coronary artery bypass surgery, and so on. So we cover all of those. However, say cancer, a lot of persons will say, but I heard about people who they had cancer, or they were diagnosed of cancer, and yet they don't get the coverage because the insurance says that they don't cover that type of cancer. So it's very important when you open these critical illness plans, you sit down with the advisor and understand what is covered from what is not covered. For example, most companies, They do not cover cancer that is benign. That means it's not going anywhere. It's not growing. It's not life-threatening, because that's what it really is when you call it critical illness. It is life-threatening. And if it is not life-threatening, then there's no need of coverage or payment of the coverage, right? So you need to understand what is covered in those critical illness plans, first of all, right? There are also the importance of understanding the waiting periods. What is my waiting period? If I open it today and tomorrow or next month, I am diagnosed, will I be getting my $6 million? Those are questions you need to ask as well. Some companies, their waiting periods are 3 months, some 6 months, some 1 year, and so forth. Find that out first, you know, and ensure that you understand the whole, as it were, in terms of the critical illness plans. Very important.
All right, so just to follow up. So if you have a condition that is benign, that's not cancer, all right? What you would call that now? Like a lump, a wart is a benign growth, right? The problem with cancer, so benign just means, as Othniel had said, it's not critical. It's really just an abnormality, but it's not
spreading.
It's normally abnormal. Let's leave it at that, right? To make it easy to understand. When you're talking about cancer now, you're speaking now about something that is abnormally abnormal. It is not responding the way something should respond. So it's supposed to die. Even if it's a lump, it's supposed to just stay a lump. If you have it now changing, it's getting bigger, it's starting to pain you, it's the area is turning color, right? That it's doing something it's not supposed to do, right? And that's when we're talking about cancer. What Othniel was getting to is whether something is invasive or not invasive. That's what we're speaking to. So if something is in situ, meaning non-invasive, if any of you have any critical illness policies, or if you go online and you read the fine print, a lot of the policies will speak to, and I think JN's policy speaks to something, they exclude cancers where they're non-invasive, and that's really
Carcinoma
just speaking
in situ.
Right, like carcinoma in situ, or just any cancer that's non-invasive. So what that is that the doctors have looked under the microscope and the features of the cells look cancerous. But just picture your little finger, right? If the cancer has started right here along this line, it has not done anything, it has not gone into the tissue, meaning into the tip, the pinky tip, it has not moved anywhere. That's non-invasive disease. That's what we call early stage disease. You cut off the finger, you're cured. When the cancer now has moved, i.e. invaded into the surrounding areas, remember it just takes one cell to have also moved this way, gone up this way, gone into the arm and anywhere else in the body. And just like that, it would spread. And that is why when something is now invasive, you will have more treatment to do. You will likely have to cut off the finger as well as do chemotherapy, plus or minus radiation therapy, etc., etc. And that is when the big boys, meaning the amount, the volume, the sheer volume of financial stress is going to come on you, because that's when you'll have to do more things. And that's when most policies will cover, right? So it's when you need a whole heap of things to be done, that is when you get some support from your critical illness policies. The only policy out there I have seen, that covers for early stage cancer is Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited's Total Woman, which covers for early stage breast cancer. I'm sorry, but I absolutely love it. the young lady in
Don't
January
be sorry.
played out.
Don't be sorry.
Listen, you know, they tell me in the office, like anybody who has any question about the Total Woman, they call me, they say, oh, Nats is the Total Woman lady. And it's a policy that was created after having a conversation with some women and a focus group of women about what they wanted in a policy. And it's just amazing to me what it covers. And for something to cover for early stage breast disease, breast cancer insight 2, which is often found at mammography stage, meaning, you know, an x-ray of the breast. And remember, we encourage persons to do their mammography. So for a policy to be there that can cover you at that early stage, that is just amazing. And then it does some other things too, guys, that really and truly you should just have one. Every female on this call me, right? And get your Total Woman. But really, that's what you think about. You know, you're looking at what is it covering. So remember, it's not just having insurance, it's what you have, how much you have, and what does the policy do for you. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and to add to that as well is that in Kadia's case, and one of the things Jamaica National Life Insurance has tried to understand is the needs of persons in this country and what happens when they do have cancer or these critical illnesses. Now, with the critical illness, the individual critical illness plan that Jamaica National has, if Kadia had one of those plans, or any one of us have one of those plans, there is what we call a reoccurrence benefit that is important to have. How that works is that if in case you have the cancer diagnosed, get your payment of $6 million and it's paid out. And after 1 year, you have a reoccurrence of this disease, whether it be cancer or an occurrence of any one of the other covered illnesses, you will be able to get an additional benefit from it. Now, this is unique to JN Life because most, if not all companies, once you have cancer, then guess what happens? You won't be able to get another insurance plan, a critical illness plan. But if you had a critical illness plan with JN Life and you have a reoccurrence of it, then you'll be able to continue paying. You'll be able to continue. So once you get claim, you continue paying. You don't close it out. And then if you have a reoccurrence of it or occurrence of any other, you can get additional benefit. But of course, I remember we discussed earlier with Kadia, because she had it before, and most critical illness plans or most companies, once you have it before, then you wouldn't be able to open that plan because that person would be excluded because it's on first diagnosis. However, yes, it's rough, Sebastian. I see them. I see it. Right, but that's just how it goes. The actors they say it's too much of a risk because of the possibility or the likelihood of you having it again. So we have realized that at JN Life, and that is why we have developed this critical illness plan to ensure that if you had it and you benefit, you can benefit again. So that's also one of the features that you look for that would be unique and that I know you can benefit from.
All right, great. There you have it, guys. I think we definitely need to check through what your plan covers and speak to your advisor in depth, just as how Natalie and Othniel have given us an in-depth explanation. So if I'm a person who gets critically ill to the point where I can't work, what can my critical illness insurance do for not just me, but also my dependents?
Want to go ahead, Natalie?
Let me just make sure I understand. So is it that you are sick all the time? Or because if you're sick all the time, then that's a regular health matter, right? That is somebody whose health is just poor, and
Okay,
they won't, or is it that somebody had a critical illness, and the critical illness, taking care of the disease and going through the recovery period, going through the disease process, that is what keeps them sick all the time. And that is why it's important to have a critical illness policy, because
it's more of the latter that we're wondering about. Like if you're, normal functioning, healthy, and then you get sick, you can't work anymore, maybe you're stuck in the hospital, how can critical illness help not just you, but also your children who are depending on you to pay their school fee? You used to have your job, but now you don't anymore. What can the critical illness insurance do for you?
Let me paint the picture, and I'm sure Othniel has had this before. I met a young man at 37, and when I was speaking to him, he told me he had diabetes. That came out in the question. And I said to him, okay, so I asked him a couple of questions trying to get an understanding of how well he was. He didn't know anything about his illness status, which told me that he wasn't really paying attention, which a lot of us don't go to the doctor, we don't eat right, we don't eat on time, we're not exercising. So we're not really paying attention to our health status. He wanted life insurance because he said, oh, I just want to make sure that something is there for my family members if I die. But because he wasn't taking care of his health, I said to him, get some critical illness coverage, because if something happens to you and you're the breadwinner, meaning you are the one who works in your household, so the rent is paid through you, your family members get food through you, just as how a child, if he had a child, would be going to school and taken care of through his salary. So I told him to get some critical illness insurance coverage. I met him at 37. At 39, he had a stroke, right? And that 1.5 million payout, he had the stroke in November. Remember, Othniel said, we give it to you as a lump sum payment, right? So that is what was able to help to take care of the additional expenses. Like for a while, he couldn't really hold anything. So he couldn't, because of how his hands, the numbness to his his hand, his dominant hand. And so he could only really drink. And he had to buy liquid diet for a good couple of weeks, right? And then he had additional expenses. He couldn't walk very far, right? And so he had to be taking a private transport to get to and from the doctor's office. That's additional expense. He did not go back to work until May of the following year, right? And so that's November, December, January, February, March, April, May, right? 7 months of not working. His critical illness payout, the lump sum that he got, is what allowed him to pay for all those additional non-direct medical expenses, as well as put food on the table and save something. Because remember, if you are not going to get another critical illness policy later, after having had a critical illness, then it means that you really do need to try and invest some of what you get as a payout. Meaning, for that young man, whatever it is that has caused you to have a stroke when you're young, the same issue going on in your body can also allow you to have a heart attack at another point or another stroke. So it is imperative for you to really try to put up some of that money to invest it in some way, so that if you have another critical illness, you can get it, unless you have a JN life and you can get another payout, right? And therefore, that is why it's important. Remember, I keep saying it's not about having the insurance, but what you have and how much you have. And this is why the how much comes in. Kadian had shared that her expenses pretty much ran her upwards of $4 or $5 million. So if you really look at the cost of healthcare now and your trajectory, and you say, okay, in another, I am currently 20 something or 30 something, in another 20 to 30, 40 years, when I am of the age group where statistically speaking, a critical illness is likely to happen, 5 million now is not 5 million then. So you want to think ahead of the game and purchase enough coverage while you are young enough to qualify for it, right? And for it to be a lower premium, so that you have the amount that you will need to take care of the illness and be able to invest something else, right? That's what I would say.
All right, thank you. Over to you, Amanda.
So I want to ask, can you move a bit away from critical illnesses? What are the benefits of having a pension plan?
All right. So there's always this saying that you need to start saving for your pension. You need to start saving for your pension from the very first month or your very first salary. Now, a lot of persons, especially younger persons, they think pensions are for persons who are nearing retirement. That is so far from the truth. All of us need to start. If we haven't started as yet, once we're earning an income, we need to get onto a pension plan. If your company that you're working with has what we call a superannuation fund, wherein that pension fund is specific to that organization or firm that you're working with, you get on it as quickly as possible. There are many benefits with it. If not, you can have what you call a IRS or individual retirement scheme that you can add to your portfolio, right? Because of course you're going to be doing other things and you're an investment club. Investments as well can be a backup, but you need to have what we call a pension. And based on the Pensions Act of Jamaica, the maximum that you can put aside at any time is 20% of your salary, all right? If it's a superannuation, you can get your company to provide a certain amount. So if you do the basic 5%, the company puts 5%, you can voluntarily add another 10%, or you can go over 20% for it to be legally seen as a pension plan for you. There are tax advantages, right, or tax benefits for it. And you know, with regards to that pension fund, and I see something here from Khalil, where he was saying about a gratuity would be better than a pension plan. No. When you come to a pension plan, when you really check out a pension plan and you sit down and understand the tax benefits of a pension plan, that's what makes it unique than any other plan or instrument that you will ever have, whether this country or any other country, once it goes according to plan, right? So that is crucial, you know, unless you want to be paying, maximizing the income tax that you pay to the government. And I know you don't want that. You want to ensure that you maximize on the amount that you are going to be getting and lessen the amount of income tax that goes to the government. And if you understand, and you can, when you sit down with either Natalie or myself, and we can show you a scenario or scenarios wherein once it is taken out of your gross monthly income, before the statutory deductions comes out, that's where you benefit. You effectively reduce the taxable income or the amount that is taxed, as it were. And therefore, there are tax benefits to this kind of plan. Good. And of course, there are many other benefits of having a pension plan. It's investment. Yes. If I hear the saying that you will have investments, for example, what's her name? Kadia told you that she had to go into her investments. She had to, and we understand the emergency. However, if it was a pension plan, that was a part of her portfolio. where now she can say, or at that time, everything was withdrawn. She had nothing. If she had a pension plan, that couldn't be touched. Her pension plan would be there. So it is important, very important part of it, where it's as if a compulsory savings, as it were. You can't touch it because that is there for a purpose. When you retire, you don't want to be going around like the advertisement on TV with a shaman and you cannot, and your business gone, you don't have a pension, you can't manage after retirement. So it's therefore important for you to have a pension plan.
All right, thank you. So now we'll have our open Q&A segment. So we'll take some more questions from the chat. Natalie has been typing and answering some. Thank you both for all your responses and the details that you're giving us. So Sebastian was wondering, do you have to be actively employed to qualify for an insurance plan?
Go ahead, Natalie.
Well, actively employed, how are you gonna pay your premiums? So long as the premiums are being paid legitimately, right? So no drugs, no scamming, we're too cute for go to prison, right? But so long as you have a method of paying your premiums, whether your parents are paying for it or you have a scholarship and you have chosen to invest some of your scholarship funds by taking out a small amount of insurance, then by all means, go ahead and invest in your future and you can have it. Or if you work and travel and what you can do is when you work and travel and you come back, you can actually pay your premiums for the entire year and then you are okay until the next work and travel experience. So no, you don't have to be actively employed, but you do have to have had a source of income to pay your premiums. All right.
All right, well, there you have it. Once you can pay illegitimately, then you're good to go.
Legitimately. Mm-hmm.
No scamming.
So Jason has a question. Go ahead, Jason. Ask the question.
Hi everyone, afternoon. So persons have been saying that insurance really works on the premise that there is uncertainty, right? So you have persons who will eventually need to make a claim and persons who might not. And because of that uncertainty, everyone is incentivized to pay it. Now, as artificial intelligence gets more widespread and gets more accurate, some persons have said that that might affect the insurance industry because the people who are less at risk will know they're less at risk and therefore not want to invest. So I want to ask you, how do you think that plays with Jamaica in terms of the market? Do you think that it might have a lot of change, or you think that the industry would need to change to meet that? What's your outlook for persons like us who are young and going to have a lifetime of this under that system?
You're talking about with this whole digital currency and all these other things that are coming up. The truth is, Jason, insurance, the industry has changed so much. So both Othniel and I have done the financial services certified professional courses out of the American College. And, you know, part of the getting that designation is learning how much the industry has changed. So even having policies now where you can actually have an investment portion to your policy so that you can get returns and you can get encashments off of your policy. That's something that came about because of the change in our clients' services and what clients wanted. So the industry is dynamic, and as things come out and as the demand of the clients change over the years, the industry will adjust as needed. You will always, though, need insurance, because when you think about it, none of my clients that I have, perhaps I've only had one claim that was an old person and therefore expected, so to speak. Everybody else was under 50, right? And in a lot of cases, it was people who there was no correlated illness or similar disease process in any other family member. So that disease occurred de novo in that person, meaning they are the first in their family, right? The young lady, she just got back her gene test, and it turns out that she has the BRCA gene like Angelina Jolie, right? Nobody else in her family has ever had breast cancer before. So it's a risk in terms of you may not get it, but what you're doing is you're buying the service from an insurance company, and the service that the insurance company is providing and will always provide is you pay a small premium and we guarantee a large sum of money should X, Y, or Z happen. I think that that uncertainty will always exist, because as much as we've learned about the human body from head to toe, literally from hair follicle to big toenail can get infected and can have some sort of disease going wrong with it. And I don't think we will ever be able to figure out every single thing that is happening. And with changes in diet and changes in exposure, additional sun rays, nitrogen products in foods, high sugar content foods, I think things will always be coming up, and so there will always be a need for insurance.
Yeah, I don't want to take too long with a follow-up, but because you mentioned diets, I'm not sure if certain lifestyle choices would affect a client's premium, like whether they smoke or whether they have tickets for reckless driving. I don't know what that's like, but in terms of diets, right, would you agree that if a client has a healthy diet versus an unhealthy diet, they're putting themselves at an extra risk, and that risk isn't always reflected in their premium? So I don't know. Do you think that that's something that's going to be more of a thing in the future, or that's kind of a wacky question?
Well, Jason, that's a good question. It's already there to a certain degree, but we take your point. It can be more. Because what happened, Jason, is that we have what we call underwritten plans. Plans that we probe more, we find out what is, as you mentioned, your lifestyle. So most, if not all, underwritten plans, there is a section of the application form that asks for lifestyle information. So it asks about who is your doctor, it asks when was the last time you go to your doctor, what was the results? Then it asks about what's your height, your weight. It even asks how much glass of wine you drink on a weekly basis. So we do consider those things, right? And after we have collected that information within the underwriting department of each of these providers, that underwriter will sit, make an assessment, do what we call a risk and an underwriting assessment. And then if it is that you say you drink a bottle of rum every month and so forth, it will affect you. You know, you can become what we call rated. And then if it is that you need, for example, an accidental death benefit on that basic sum insured, then you're going to be paying more than someone else who only drink a glass of wine, you know. Or of course, you know, non-smokers and smokers, they pay a different premium as well. So we do have that set in our plans.
All right.
Thanks, both of you.
Yeah, man, you're welcome.
Right. Thank you both so much. And we're coming to the end, but don't leave us yet, guys, because we have another credit giveaway. And of course, we have some more information to provide for you if you want to sign up for either YIC or AOL. But first, we have to thank our very special guest speakers. And I'm going to
Can I do a giveaway? Can I can't do a giveaway?
Of course. So Natalie and Othniel, feel free to leave your information in the chat. Guys, if you are interested in purchasing health insurance, finding out more information, and you want to apply for a plan, feel free to contact Natalie or Othniel. I'm sure they'll leave their information in the chat, whether it's email or telephone number. You can go right ahead and contact them. But we have to officially thank you. So I'm going to hand over to Trina Robinson.
Well, in Trina's absence, she fell off. I'm calling Italia to do the vote of thanks for us. And then you move to the prize giveaway. Okay. Seems Italia is not here, so Jade.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. On
Good
behalf of the Angels of Love UWI Tech Chapter and the UWI Young Investors Club, I would like to thank Miss McCoy, Mr. Bagrove, and Miss Walters for sharing such valuable information. Miss McCoy, thank you for sharing your story. I mean, I know you said that you've shared it multiple times, but I'm sure that it's hard to like go back to that moment and, you know, recall everything that's happened. But we're grateful that you shared with us what you've experienced. So Mr. Blackgrove, thank you for taking the time out to give us some tips about handling finances in the best way possible. And Ms. Walters, thank you for sharing insightful points about insurance and to know which policies are best for persons who are critically ill. It was a very, very informative session. And I know that a lot of us here have learned something. So thank you again. It was great to have you all here. And thank you to everybody who joined and participated.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jade. So we're going to have the credit giveaway. And before we get into it, because I know you guys, some of you guys might be staying for that, just want to remind you that you are welcome to join the UWI Young Investors Club. I am sending the link in the chat right now to sign up. And you're also welcome to join the Angels of Love UWI Tech Chapter.
Yes.
Just a little synopsis at the UWI Young Investors Club. We talk all about financial literacy and investing. We want to spread that knowledge to everyone our age so that you can get on the right path to success and wealth and financial freedom. We love to talk a lot about the stock market especially. We go through the basics of how to actually invest. So if you're interested, feel free to click that link that I just sent in the chat and you are welcome to sign up. So over to you, Amanda.
All right, so time for a prize giveaway. First person to answer correctly in the chat, as usual. So my question is, what is the maximum percentage you can put away for a pension plan? Okay, Khalil. So just private message me your number and your service provider.
All right, awesome. Congratulations to the winners. And thank you once again, especially to our guest speakers. You know, Jade said it perfectly. Thank you, Kadia. Thank you, Othniel. Thank you, Natalie. You've all contributed something so unique and so informative and inspiring to this meeting. And we truly appreciate your time and everything that you've shared with us. So thank you so much. And we wish you all the best in your endeavors. And thank you as well to all the participants who have come out today, everyone from YIC, everyone from AOL. It was a great collaboration and we're happy to have you guys. So we wish you all the best as well. You're welcome to come back anytime. We meet on Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. So yeah, we hope that you learned a lot from this meeting and that it cleared up the questions you might have had about insurance. And as mentioned, feel free to contact Natalie or Othniel. They left their information in the chat. So if you are interested, you are welcome to contact them. Thank you all and have a great week. Bye guys, see you next week.
Thank you for having us.
Bye guys.
Take care.
Bye.
All the best.
Bye, guys.
Bye, thanks for having me. Bye.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
And give me a call, right? Or shoot me an email. And welcome to to come back and answer any of your questions at another time. All right.
All right, it was good.